Hello everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. Whatever your plans for the day or tomorrow may be, just remember to enjoy them as much as you enjoy this video. We have a special guest on the channel today. A friend of mine that's currently studying music was interested in hopping on for a video, and it was honestly just a really fun hour that we had recording. So this is Jacob. He's never properly played Wrath of Cortex, and he also just so happens to love music, both instruments and production. So I had the genius idea of merging the two into a video, where I play him 9 songs from Wrath of Cortex, and he has to try and guess the environment and atmosphere of the level. Afterwards, I'll show him some gameplay from the level to see his reaction. And then finally, he'll be trying to guess the name of the level from a list of 30. Boss fights included, secret levels not included. And if you do enjoy this video as much as your day, or your day yesterday, then be sure to leave a like and comment your thoughts on a musician's take on Wrath of Cortex's music. If this video does well, then we'll have some other potential ideas we can try out with some other games. And well, yeah. Be sure to subscribe if you want to, and go get your snacks ready. So let's get into this. So, I know you. I've known you for a while, and I'm quite familiar with like the kind of shit you do, mate. But would you mind just, telling people watching the video what it is that you get up to in your time?
Yeah, so I do music tech at uni.
They pay me for this.
You're a big musical person, really, aren't you? I mean, as long as I've known you, you've kind of been into music and stuff, which is why I thought, yo, let's get this guy on the channel. Let's look over some songs from Crash. But what's your kind of experience with Crash as a whole then?
So I've had quite a limited experience with Crash. I've played a bit of it, but I'm not at a point where I could name any of the levels.
Yeah, you just kind of played through it casually.
I've seen some gameplay, but it's really hard for me to remember what is what in Crash.
Yeah, you kind of just see it and then it goes and you're like, oh, that happened.
Yeah, I'll play a level. I'm like, okay, that's a level done, I guess, and then move on to the next.
Yeah, just kind of go through it, not thinking too much about it. I know you've seen like at least a little bit outside of what you've played in your own time, because obviously you've been in the stream. I've seen you in the chat on the stream and that. So the way this is kind of going to work, I'm going to play a number of songs from levels in Wrath of Cortex, and you have to just kind of try your best to guess the environment and the atmosphere of the level. If you think you can after you've seen the gameplay, try and pick out the level the song belongs to. It's hard. I'd expect you to get like a handful of them, but when you have zero context other than like maybe 30 seconds of gameplay from a level and the music, it can be hard. And some of these names are a bit deceptive, which is why I thought I'd kind of throw that in there as well. Alright then, so I'm just going to play this and we'll get straight into it and not waste any more time. So just give us your thoughts as we kind of go through it, and then at the end make your guess for each level.
Let's go. It's got a very tense nature about it. It's got that heartbeat kind of kick drum to it. The X-Files whistle on top, with the horn in the back kind of looming. Bit sneaky, bit dangerous.
Sneaky and dangerous. I can see those two kind of words fitting in.
But it's got like a... with the echo or the reverb on the synthy sound, it's kind of like spacey almost, or alien.
Space? Alien? Okay.
I could see it being like... I mean, the X-Files whistle is very kind of giveaway, I think, to... It has a very extraterrestrial kind of vibe to
it. Do you think you'd be able
but
to
it's
guess...
speeding up.
Do you think
It's
you'd be able
more
to guess
tense.
the environment of it based on what you've heard so far?
Maybe like something to do with space. Maybe
Yeah.
you're on a spaceship fighting some sort of aliens.
Alright, okay.
That's the general vibe.
That was actually, it was kind of close. When you're saying like sneaky and like space, it's basically spot on. Let me show you the gameplay.
Oh right, okay.
Is this kind of something you had in mind, or?
Yeah. You're on like a spaceship type situation. The synths give a very metallic kind of... They've got a very metallic sort of timbre.
Yeah.
At least in my eyes.
So what level do you think that was, based on the music and what you saw? There's a lot of variety in
Oh,
there, isn't there? There's a lot of kind of different
I'd
different names and stuff.
I'd have to say crash steroids maybe.
Crash steroids. Is that your final answer?
But atmospheric pressure's pretty close. I mean, I'd say crash steroids.
Crash steroids,
Yeah.
you're going with that? Okay, so the level was Droid Void, actually.
Oh, it's right next to it.
Yeah, level 6, I think at level 17, yeah, and Crash Droids is level 18, so very, very close. I can see why you'd get that, because space, Crash Droids and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and say Crash Droids, it's not in this list. But that level it's like dogfighting in space almost, like you're in a spaceship and you've got loads of different kind of other space shuttles.
That makes more sense.
And then Droid Void, obviously, you're like you said, you're in a space station. I think you got the general vibe of the level perfect based on the music. Good luck with this one as well. I think you'll have a better chance at this one.
We'll see. Okay. Super industrial sounding, super robotic sounding. It's got the descending sweep on the synth. The percussion is very like, it sort of sounds like hammers on metal.
Okay.
Kind of 4G.
I can see that. Okay, yeah.
Very industrial vibe.
Industrial's a good word to use.
Very so the beats like 4 on the floor, which is a kick drum every beat. It's going back to the hi-hat every other kick, so every other beat. It's still got that weird alien sounding synth though. So you're still dealing with maybe an alien environment. Maybe in a more industrial sense. That's a strange inclusion.
I think when this next part comes in, you might be able to get it. We'll see.
It's getting like a lot of lasery vibes with the synths. Okay, so bit of delay or echo on that. It's kind of playful, goofy.
Okay, that's interesting. That is.
I think I'm confident.
You think you got it? Yeah. Give me the long and short.
Maybe like an alien workshop where you're dealing with maybe some workers that happen to be creating stuff in a very large-scale industrial manner. The synths, especially with the sweeps kind of going down, kind of remind me of lasers, and there are some synth sounds that are strange, maybe a bit alien, very strong industrial feel, especially with the kicks on every beat.
Okay. Yeah, so industrial. You mentioned like lasers as well.
It's got to be something to do with aliens though, because the weird synth choices are quite goofy, quite unusual otherwise.
Okay, so you're thinking maybe a similar vibe to Droid Void.
Kind of, yeah, but this is more of a... This is a less dangerous situation.
Oh,
That's the vibe it gives me.
Right, okay, that's really interesting actually. Let me show you the gameplay for this level. So you were right with industrial. Industrial was very good, but as you can see, it's kind of like an underground facility, like lots of lava, lots of fire.
Oh, okay. So it'd be those synth sweeps are more for like a computery kind of element to it, a bit of like techno maybe.
Yeah, and what level would you imagine that is? Probably more based on the visuals than the music.
Definitely have to look at the list. Refer back to that. I'd say compactor reactor.
I knew you were going to say compactor reactor. It's not compactor reactor. I knew you were going to say that one. It's very, very close. So this is Fahrenheit Frenzy.
Oh, that's the other one. Oh, that's the other one I was thinking.
In terms of levels, they're both very, very similar. They're both the ending levels of each kind of warp room chamber, which means they are very industrial levels. They're always kind of factory-based levels, with normally a bit at the start and then like a factory platforming section at the end. I was looking at the list as well, and I was thinking he's going to say compactor reactor. Because it makes sense. Like, I thought that too. Makes sense, and I think that was a really good guess, to be fair.
I didn't expect the lava cave situation to be involved at first, because that doesn't really sound like it would fit the musical theme, but the factory, definitely, that's something that came to mind. Especially with the hammers, it sounds like a very, maybe an intense, like a hot situation. Forges, with hammers on very hot metal type deal.
When you said forge, I was like, oh, okay. That's close. That's relevant,
but I'd think of a forge more than a factory. Either way, it's still quite similar thematically, so it's not that far off.
Let me know what you think of this one.
Bit of cowbell.
I hear that cowbell.
Right. A lot of space in between the chords. Quite a bit of reverb as well. Same 4 on the floor, techno-ish beat. Fast-paced synth in the background.
Any pointers on atmosphere, environment?
This is more of a faster paced level. Maybe you're fighting a boss, maybe you're...
Okay.
It gives me a very strong sense of hostility. The tempo is quite fast, meaning you'd have to be in some sort of high intensity situation. So maybe you're in a chase, maybe you're...
That's the word I was looking for. I was thinking you were going to say that word. That's basically it. That's very good. Very, very good. I'll pause it there, I must say. So when you said high intensity, chase, maybe boss fight, these are all like absolutely correct. 100% correct.
Nice.
So, but what would you kind of think, what do you think the world would look like in this level that the music's playing for?
They've been using a lot of very strong synthy sounds the whole way through. Similar vibes to both of the levels, or all of the levels shown before.
Yeah, okay.
But it's kind of a mix of the two, somehow. It's less space-oriented, but there is an element there. If you're in a chase, it's definitely not a water-themed level. If anything, it's more like based around maybe toxicity or lava.
Okay.
Due to the hostility of the chords. It's quite spacious at the start with the chords, and then it kind of builds up. Maybe the chase gets more, or it gets progressively more intense the further you go.
Yeah, I mean, it is a boss fight, so it would make sense. You were completely right when you said it'd be a boss fight.
It's also giving me a bit of factory vibes. It's the same 4 on the floor beat as before, so I'd say still in a factory. It would make sense to me to use the same beat for a similar environment.
You're saying very similar to the last okay. Very similar to the last song, yeah.
Okay, so being chased by a golem looking thing. It's quite lava, quite flames. Say maybe crash and burn.
Crash and burn. Final answer?
Yeah.
You got?
Yeah.
You got? Okay. Final answer, sure. So the level was crashes to ashes.
Oh my god.
So, again, very, very similar. So Crash and Burn, also Crash and Burn, like Crash Draw, it's not in this list. That's a level, it's a platforming level on like an island. There's like, you got like beaches and stuff, you got caves you go into. But the island is a volcano and it's just erupted. So you've got like ash spewing everywhere, you've got lava pouring down like right beside the trees. And yeah, this is Crashes to Ashes, so again, pretty good. I think that's probably the closest one you've had so far. Droid Void was
getting
good.
So close with the names, so close.
Yeah, this next one might be the next 2 levels. I think you'll be able to get the theme of them quite well, but matching the name to it might be a bit hard. Maybe you'll get the next one though. I think you'd have a good chance. Let's hop into the 4th song of the video.
Oh, it's got a really cool panning synth. Goes from the left to the right. Quite a fast rate. Oh, okay. That sound, like that paddy kind of sound in the middle, just then. Or this even.
Yeah.
It's giving like a very watery, kind of slippery vibe. Quite reverby.
Watery,
quite
slippery.
Buried in the mix. But again, yeah, there's super techno vibes again. And the hi-hat's hitting on every and of the beat, so every off, or to go 1 hi-hat, 2 hi-hat.
Any kind of thoughts about maybe atmosphere or like feel of the level?
Very like Mario water levels vibes. Not the main panning synth, but the ones in the middle kind of buried in the back. It'd have to be something to do with water. Something to do with water.
So you said it felt very kind of slippery. It reminded you of water.
I don't know. I felt like there's a lot of reverb on the instruments that weren't the main synth that was bouncing around from left to right, kind of oscillating.
And what kind of level do you think that'd be? Maybe like a standard platforming level, or like a vehicle level, or like maybe even a boss fight or something. Where are your thoughts kind of at on that?
Maybe an underwater level.
Underwater, yeah?
Possibly. It doesn't give me the same aggression that the previous levels with flames and hard-hitting factory settings would.
Yeah.
It gives me more
it's
of
not
a.
sharp.
It's more fun. It's more laid back, despite the tempo being quite fast. It's kind of pushing you forward, but not in an aggressive way.
Show you what kind of level this is. I think that was quite good. I mean, I don't think it was too hard to notice that it is a water level, but it is a boss fight. It's the second boss of the game. It's a water boss. The words boss fight being used kind of loosely because it's a platforming boss, so it's more or less just a platforming like timing puzzle, and there's not an awful lot of gameplay for the level because it's a very short boss.
Yeah, it's quite high intensity, but it doesn't give that same scary impression that maybe the fire boss gave, or at least the music.
There's not the same level of aggression and stuff. It's very kind of soft.
Exactly.
I think you did a very good job guessing it was water. The problem is now there's quite a lot of levels that could reference watery levels and stuff. A lot of level names that reference water in the game. So which level do you think this would be? Those levels are in order, by the way, of like 1 to 30. So I've given you a bit of a hint by saying it's the second boss of the game.
Based on the gameplay, and based off of maybe the attacks of the enemy, with the water level kind of sinking and rising with the platforms, I think maybe Tsunami.
Tsunami?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Yep.
Okay, so it was actually drain damage.
Oh, I would have not gotten that.
You don't think you would have got drain damage?
There's nothing to do with drains besides the fact that there's water there.
Yeah.
Or are those bars like drain pipes on the sides?
I don't think so, no. They're more like handrails. I've never paid too much attention to that actual kind of structure in the middle of the stage. I normally just focus on, on playing it. It's meant to be a boss fight, so...
I think Tsunami is much cooler of a name for more of a boss style level.
I will go ahead and tell you actually, Tsunami, so this is the second boss. Tsunami is the second level in the third kind of hub area. So it's like 2 levels after this. You play as Coco in it and you hop on a scooter and it's like a chase level, but you're running from just a giant tsunami. Quite literally a tsunami. I think it's really cool what you said about the gameplay though, and how his attacks, they come in waves, and that made you think tsunami. Yeah. That makes sense. That's definitely a good guess. I can't... I'll try and
attach the visual elements to the names, but so far that's not necessarily working out for me.
I think in some cases it works a lot. I think the main problem with this game, it's something I've noticed it's not really a problem, but it's a thing that can be seen as a problem in contexts like this, and I think you're overcoming it quite well. A lot of levels in the game have a kind of spacey feel to them, like the music. Not necessarily the levels, but there'll always be some element of synth or something in there, I've noticed, that gives you the impression it's in space, or it's aliens or like robots or something.
It's very possible that it may have been due to limitations on the tech at the time.
Yeah.
And the software they were using possibly couldn't handle a more realistic instrument sound, so they were stuck with very digital sounding instruments. Leading to a very computer-oriented production.
But I think you did a good job at that, to be honest. Again, I keep saying it, but I think Tsunami is reasonable. You said water and slippery. That's good. The level, I don't think you guessed like boss level or anything too intimidating.
No, it didn't have... Well, it had the urgency. There was not enough sense of danger to the track. It was a bit silly with the panning, bouncy kind of synth. It was oscillating quite fast. That gave me a more playful energy than what I had seen in the gameplay. Okay. This is not necessarily what I was expecting when I was talking about the potential environment. But yeah, seeing this is it was just not what I was expecting.
I mean, that's fair enough. I think you did an okay job. It's a water level. Let's get into the next level. So this is the fifth song. Yeah, you'll have a good time with this one, I feel like.
Let's see. Ah, yeah. kind of like, I may be using this wrong, kind of shuffly.
Shuffly.
Or like, maybe a bit swung. Seems like a very unintimidating aura for the song to be giving off.
That's good. That's like, yeah, you're on the right path.
Seems like maybe an introductory level to an area. Something to ease the player into something more dangerous later on. Very synthy, but also
Then pointing you to an environment or like world details.
it doesn't seem as computerized, but they're using the alien style synth all over the place, especially for the lead. If you disregard the horns, that sound in the lead right now, also giving the water sounds very kind of loose, and it's got loads of space in the mix. It's kind of got like a bit of a magic feel to it.
Magic, unintimidating.
It's very chilled out.
Very chilled out.
Yeah, I think it gives a similar watery vibe, but also it's so unintimidating, opposite to the fire kind of levels seen earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe it's water or ice. Maybe it has more of a cold aspect to the environment in the game.
Yeah, we're talking like physically cold, not kind of emotionally or anything, because as you said, it's very unintimidating, very almost non-threatening. I think you maybe kind of think.
Yeah, also giving off that goofy kind of energy, but maybe that's because of the kind of swingy feel to it.
So you're drawing a big distinction between what you're hearing and what you've heard.
This seems like almost the opposite of the more intimidating levels, especially the boss fight where he's chasing you.
Yeah.
It's almost like the opposite. This is very chill. This is not something to be afraid of as a player. This is something that introduces you into maybe an area.
I'll let you see the gameplay and see what you think.
Ah, snowy.
Yeah, lots of snow, lots of ice. It is also the very first level in the game.
Oh, so introductory was
Perfect, spot on.
quite correct. Nice. I don't know what the lead synth has to do with this melody. It definitely helps build up the texture of the sound.
I also just realised I'm telling you it's the very first level in the game, and I've told you the list I've given you is in level 1. I've basically given you the name of it, but go on, what's the name of the level? I mean,
I don't know.
I've told you which one it is now. But which other level do you think could be kind of a reasonable candidate to like stand in?
Eskimo roll.
Eskimo roll. I was thinking Avalanche, maybe. But
Avalanche has kind of it's too much of a threat. Eskimo roll is very much like a much substance. It just seems like a name for a level that you could just add to any kind of ice-based or snow-based level.
Yeah, it sounds, and I think when you said it sounds non-threatening, the music for Arctic Antics, Eskimo roll, it's a very kind of.
And this game was made a while ago, before Eskimo was considered a term that is maybe offensive to people of that kind of area. So I'm not sure necessarily how correct it is to say, but that is the level name. You know, shout out Electric Callboy, formerly Eskimo Callboy, but they had to change their name because it can be seen as offensive.
This next one should be at 1440 if my note's correct, so let me know what you think of this one. Good luck.
Okay, super electronic in nature. Still bongos on the left here at the very left in the back. Okay, this is maybe closer to like a final level. This seems very intense. Still using those same synth sounds. Okay. It's got that Jaws feel to it with the piano. Get the horns in there to remind you that there is still danger and it's just unrelenting. So I think, yeah, this has got to be some level like a boss level.
A boss level, yeah?
I think it has to be. With this level of intensity, they've put a lot of effort into making sure it's always coming at you. It's quite unrelenting. The horns give a very strong sense of threat. It's very, very much a level that is not maybe hard, but possibly you're nearing the end of the game. Maybe at the very end of the game. It's definitely a boss level, though, I feel.
A boss level at the end of the game.
If not, maybe you're escaping some sort of facility and it's about to blow up. It's one or the other.
Okay.
Since I can imagine maybe you're hunting, maybe you're going for like some sort of revenge. It's either you're being chased or you're chasing something. You're going after something. Mainly because with that level of pressure from the music, it seems like that's the whole level. It's not going to stop. Yeah. And even when it goes into like a lower kind of mood, there's still the horns to remind you that there's still something to focus on. You're being quite alert and aware.
I'd say that's no, it's not incorrect, but it's not correct. It's like the most kind of mixed one you've had so far. I think you did a decent job at guessing. Close to the end of the game. I'm not going to comment on that because I'll give away the name again if I keep talking about that. but yeah. So you said close to the end of the game. Chase. The chase thing was interesting. Because I don't believe there is a chase in this, but it might be addressing maybe the wider theme at large in the game, potentially.
Oh, so maybe the plot's kind of unfolding, everything's coming to a climax.
Yeah, I mean, that's good.
Kind of progressing to a point where at least you'll be in a climactic kind of situation.
I'd say that's good, and I'll let the gameplay play, and I'll let you guess the level. I do have something to comment about that in terms of climax and stuff, but let's see if you pictured this. Maybe, I think you did.
No.
You weren't quite thinking in that area.
When I said facility, I was maybe expecting like a spaceship about to explode. You're trying to escape.
Okay.
I mean, the industrial kind of sense is that seems to be more of a general theme throughout the game. This music doesn't match the level, not nearly as much as the other ones, because I believe this is more of a high intensity situation where you don't have the time to kind of just run around and do what you want, smash crates type situation.
And which level of that list would you guess it'd be?
Industrial facility, dangerous sounding, looking. I'd say Cortex Vortex.
You think Cortex Vortex, yeah? Final answer?
Yeah.
Right, so that level was Wuthering Heights.
Oh.
Were you thinking?
Is it
maybe
anything to do with the plane propellers in?
Yes.
Is it on a plane? Like an aircraft?
It's not on a plane. The points you said about the climax of the game, even though it's not the very last level, it's the 19th level in the game. I think it's accurate to say that it's probably the peak of like, I guess, intensity and stuff in the game, because the game revolves around, you know, these 4 elemental masks, and there's each one needs 5 crystals to be sent back into like a hibernation state. So if there's 4 masks and 5 crystals per mask, there's 20 crystals. The extra 5 at the end, they're kind of a mystery. We don't know why they're there. We just get them and beat the boss, to be honest. But this would be the level containing the 20th crystal to seal away the final mask.
So a very important storyline moment then.
Yeah. So I didn't think of it, but when you said, oh, maybe a climax, important part, I guess when you think of it in that sense, it is an important part.
Maybe in a larger scale storyline sense, but on its own as a level, I really didn't resonate with how that music interacted with the gameplay. It didn't do much for me. It didn't make much sense, but that's because I've not played through the game, so I wouldn't really know.
This is the final song we've got for today, and I'm gonna say this is a level you've mentioned previously.
I've forgotten everything.
I'd imagine you have, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So no pressure then. Oh god.
Yeah, no pressure, pretty much. Okay, let's get on with this.
Oh, beam me up. Ooh. I thought that was going to get something way more intense. That is not what I was expecting.
It's like penis music.
It's quite like penis music.
So what kind of area in the game do you think this would match?
One of the synths is giving a very like mouth harpy feel. It's got a bit of a twang to it. So that's quite a fun sounding instrument. It's quite high tempo, as a lot of the songs I've seen now are. Ooh. With that kind of arpeggiating synth in the back. That's maybe... It's still spacey sounding. Again, yeah, low intensity. I can't imagine this to be a boss. It's
Okay, you are correct.
fun level. I can't imagine it being in ice. Not a lava level, definitely not. Like maybe a fun version of the factory or water levels before. But I don't think underwater. I think water maybe has something to do with it.
Maybe water, fun factory water kind of.
Yeah, if I were to choose 3 words, those would be the ones that come to mind.
Okay.
However, maybe an earlier level. It's too low intensity. It's fast in tempo again, but I don't mean intensity in terms of that sense. It's more of there's nothing to fear in this level. There's no worry, there's no threat, there's no danger. Yeah, it seems just like quite a fun, laid back level.
All right. If I was ranking your thoughts, it'd be up there. I'm gonna play this out, and I think you'll be a little bit surprised. I think you'll probably be able to get the level name. Saying it was earlier on was good. It was good. So if your gut is telling you anything, I'd listen to your gut right now. Okay.
Okay. Oh, minecart level. There's the factory sort of element.
Yeah, there's the factory.
It's like scientists throwing stuff at you. It's a weird sort of instrumentation choice, because it seems quite excited for a situation that would be posing such a threat to crash. Even if it is an earlier level, the environment doesn't necessarily support that.
Yeah, so...
in my eyes.
Okay. Do you think the level suits the minecart area maybe more at the start compared to the factory?
A little bit more, yeah. Probably not the instrumentation I would use to set that environment out. I think the minecart is maybe portrayed as quite like a silly, fun thing instead of maybe more of a... I can't really think about how I would put it out, but I wouldn't use the instruments like this if I were to do it myself. Although it's still good music, obviously.
Which level do you think that'd be? Like, what do you think the name of this level is based on what you've heard and what you've seen? Next to other levels in the list that you could very easily mistake for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it can't be Smokey and the Bandicoot. I was thinking Rumble in the Rocks, but if that's the case, there's nothing jungly about this. I mean, I could see Compactor Reactor, maybe, being close to the vibe.
But you think Rumble in the Rocks would make more sense?
Wizards and Lizards doesn't make any sense as a name for this level. Rumble in the Rocks, I mean, you're going through a rocky environment. You're rumbling on the minecart.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like that makes maybe the most sense here.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Compactor Reactor this is.
Oh, why they got to add the minecart in a level called Compactor Reactor?
I guess
doesn't make sense.
I guess it's because of the factory. The factory, I'd say, takes up about 2/3 of the level. The minecart's kind of just the introduction at the start. You know,
in that case, Compactor Reactor makes a lot of sense. You know, I think Rumble in the Rocks, it's kind of like a bait and switch, especially when there's a change in environment. And from what I've seen, I don't know how long each part lasts.
Yeah. You know, with Fahrenheit Frenzy, the lava level, how at the start you were on that kind of helipack, jetpack thing going through the cave, and then you go to the factory.
Yeah.
This is very similar to that. So the jetpack takes up about 1/4 of Fahrenheit Frenzy, if that, maybe a 1/5. This takes a bit more, it's a 1/3, but it's a lot shorter of a level because it's the 5th level in the game, whereas Fahrenheit Frenzy is the 15th or 15th level in the game. Yeah.
There's a very obvious theme that towards the earlier side of the game, the levels have, despite, no matter what the environment is, they'll give a hint to what the environment would look like, but they don't necessarily lay it out as much because they want the game to sound more fun. And the further you get into the game, the more intense, the more treacherous the music will get. It's more dangerous sounding because maybe you're getting into a scarier situation, or Crash is dealing with harder things to kind of overcome.
That's all stuff I'd agree with, to be honest. I think especially when you look at levels like Wuthering Heights, even though it might not fit the stage, it does sound very, very threatening, very dramatic, climactic.
Yeah, dramatic is very much a word I'd use for the later stages, from what I've seen. Although the factory levels seem similar in layout, they also have very different soundscapes for the music.
Yeah.
This, compared to some of the earlier examples, maybe the first and second, kind of day and night to me. Even if they are in a similar environment, the way they're presented musically, very different overall.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, that is the last song that I've got in my list. That is everything, as you can see by the video bar at the bottom. I think you did a pretty good job, to be honest. I think you picked out a lot of key elements of the songs, especially Wuthering Heights and Drain Damage. You were very quick to pick on with certain themes, and I think you did a better job reading the impression and the atmosphere more than the environment and the world.
Yeah, I feel like the environments aren't necessarily tied down to the sound of the music. That's more of a visual thing, and the music is a support to that. Whereas the energy that the level is supposed to be played with throughout the game, that's kind of supported by the music. It's pushed more by the music. The intensity of the game isn't necessarily set up by the environment. The music is that kind of, it's sending the threat forward.
And I think with a Crash game in particular, it's quite hard. I'd imagine it's quite hard to do that because it's not something you see too often. And that might be a reason people praise this game's soundtrack. You've only listened to a handful of the songs, but people seem to really, really like the music in this game. I think it's pretty decent. There's some tracks I like more than others. I think out of the tracks today, Crashes to Ashes is probably my favourite. What would you say your favourite is out of the songs that we went over today?
I'd say Crashes to Ashes.
You'd agree with me on that one, you think?
I quite enjoyed that. The space given at the start, that was the one with the big chords and the horns coming in, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah, I quite liked that one. It was quite different to have more space in the music, to kind of emphasize that with powerful horns. Nice contrast to all the other music, which is generally more more fun. Crashes to Ashes has a more intimidating nature to it, and I kind of enjoyed that.
I'd say Crashes to Ashes after you beat it, that's where the game really starts to pick up in terms of difficulty. I think the music does a good job at reflecting that personally. I think it's quite good.
Definitely a more powerful, it leaves a stronger impression than the other songs. Crashes to Ashes, compared to the other tracks, has more of a staying power to me.
Yeah, I'd agree. Thank you very much for coming on to going over these songs with me.
Yeah, man.
If people like this video, if they approve of you on the channel, I suppose, maybe we can run it back with a different game or something.
I mean, I'll be very enthusiastic to see what people think about my opinions, see if they want to add anything. It seems like quite a nice talking point, especially with games like Crash I'm not too familiar with, so it's definitely something I'd like to hear more about. Alright, cool.
Thank you for coming on once again. Massive thanks once again to Jacob or Duggarino for taking the time to help me out with this video. If you want to see more Jacob on the channel and get some more musician takes on video game music, then let us both know down below. I'm sure the madman will be around in the comments somewhere, so like you mentioned, if you agree or disagree with him, then no matter how informed you are, let him know. And speaking of comments, shout out to Kirby Bandicoot for getting the highest rated comment on the OG Wrath Rankings video. I did leave a note at the start of the video mentioning the audio levels being a bit all over the place, but I had a pretty scuffed setup for recording this video, and any future videos with him on the channel should sound a lot better. Sorry about that. But formalities and nonsense aside, my name's Flynny, and this has been a musician's reaction to Wrath of Cortex. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.